good evening. This is VK2WI. Tonight's news broadcast from Amateur Radio New South Wales originates from the VK2WI facilities at Dural, Sydney, which is staffed by the volunteers of our broadcast team. Transmissions this evening are being made on frequencies between 160 metres and 23 centimetres. The announcer will advise on the transmitter status. In addition, automated relays will carry the broadcast through some regional VHF and UHF repeaters, and we thank the custodians of these systems for making the service available. Now, here are your announcer and engineer with this evening's news.
And good evening, thank you for joining us this evening. Your announcer tonight is Matthew, VK2YAP, with Tim, VK2ZTM, as engineer. Now, there are no visitors here at Dural this evening. The weather here tonight is a somewhat cool and clear evening, with a temperature outside right now of around about 10 degrees Celsius. Rainfall at the VK2WI site over the last week was 2 millimetres up until this morning. A few little spits, but nothing significant since then. And our transmitter status this evening is all okay.
This is a news broadcast from VK2WI. March 2010 marked 100 years of the WIA, the world's oldest amateur radio society. It was started in 1910 as a result of a meeting held in Sydney by a group of experimenters seeking a better deal. This is VK2WI. We now continue with this evening's news.
And in the news from Amateur Radio New South Wales for this week, well, we've just had the annual RD contest, which is probably the biggest contest on the Australian amateur radio contesting calendar. So if you took part, don't forget to submit your log, because every submission helps the overall tally for VK2. Now, coming up next weekend is the annual Lighthouse and Lightship weekend. This year it's on a separate weekend from the RD, which is nice. This isn't a contest in the conventional sense, but it is a great opportunity to make contact all over the world with some rare and unusual places taking part, activating for the weekend. If you have a look online at the list of official stations taking part, you will find that Australia's getting very excited and getting pretty well, with the second highest number of locations to be operating after Germany. So that should be an interesting weekend. You'll need to know about the conditions, and so we have the weekly solar and geophysical report. And this report is for the period of the 3rd to the 9th of August. So first we go with the summary, and the dates across the columns for the summary are the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and the 9th of August. Now firstly we have the 10 centimetre flux, 70, 70, 69, 69, 70, 70, and 70. Fredericksburg A index, AFR, was 6, 8, 6, 5, 11, 6, and a 6 estimated for the 9th. The Australian A index, the AOZ, is 3, 1, 2, 0, 8, 3, and 2 estimated for the 9th. And the T index, 4, 1, 2, 0, 3, 4, and 4 on the 9th of August. So solar flare activity was very low all week, and geomagnetic activity was also very quiet levels. The F2 critical frequency in the southern Australian region remained near predicted monthly values all week during the daylight hours, but as has been what's been happening for the past couple of weeks, we've seen some slight enhancements of F2 frequencies during local nights. So this past week we just had 20% enhanced on the 3rd, 25% on the 4th, 15% on the 5th, and the 5th was also, the enhancement continued up to 20% just after local dawn. But as we said, once it was daylight it returned back to normal. The evening of the 6th and the 8th were 15% enhanced, and then the night time was 25% enhanced. Now we're looking ahead to the forecast for the 10th to the 16th of August, and solar activity is expected to again be low. Geomagnetic activity is expected to reach unsettled to active levels between the 11th and 12th of August, but otherwise should be quiet, and the maximum usable frequencies should remain near predicted monthly values. Now, data's courtesy of Space Weather Services. Now we have a look at the solar flux index figures for this week. Now, just taking a look back at July, the figures for the month were a minimum of 66, average of 70, a maximum of 73, with the peak dates between the 7th and the 21st. Now, I'm getting up to about halfway through August. Now, the predictions so far will be a minimum of 69, an average of 70, it should also be the maximum of 70, the peak dates between the 2nd and the 11th, and the 24th to the 31st of August. Looking ahead to September, and we expect there will be a minimum of 69, average will be 69, and the maximum will be 70, with peak dates between the 20th and the 25th. And that update is thanks to Noel, VK2FUL.
This is a news broadcast from VK2WI. To submit news for inclusion in these sessions, please email it to news@arnsw.org.au by the end of business on Friday. You can help us with presentation by writing your news item in the third person and limiting it to about one A4 page in an easily read font. This is VK2WI. We now continue with this evening's news.
And we ask, what use is an F-call? So tonight we're continuing with this series, which is written and produced by Ono, VK6FLAB. Each episode in this series looks at different aspects of the diverse hobby of amateur radio.
What use is an F-call? In 1905, George Santayana said, "For those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it." If you're new to amateur radio, like me, you don't remember the past because you don't know it. While I could dig up the history going back to 1900 or so, I'll encourage you instead to let your fingers do that walking and read that on the internet yourself. One particularly interesting document I stumbled on is called History of Radio Call Signs in Australia, a must-read. Having just received my foundation license, I was unaware how recent the development of an F-call actually is. In May 2004, the ACMA published a report on the outcomes of the review of amateur service regulation, which among many outcomes recommended the introduction of an entry-level licensing option in Australia, similar to the foundation license in the United Kingdom. The submissions at the time, over 2/3 in favour of a foundation licensing option, cited the need to make the amateur service more accessible to potential amateurs. There are other outcomes which you can read online. On the 21st of October 2005, the ACMA issued the first foundation license, VK4 Fox of Romeo Sierra Tango, to Amanda, who still holds that license today. In 2005, the foundation license looked slightly different to what it does today. At the time, you were permitted 3 watts for FM, AM and CW broadcasts and 10 watts for SSB. This changed on the 3rd of February 2006, when the ACMA notified the WIA that 10 watts was allowed on all permitted emission modes for a foundation license. Now, I was never going to be giving you a history lesson. You knew that from the start. What I was trying to point out is that the privileges we enjoy today come from a background of development driven by amateurs, like yourself, asking questions and making recommendations. It comes from input from the Wireless Institute of Australia. It comes from developments overseas. Next time you key your microphone, think about what went before. And if you're not sure, spend an hour online and have a read. I'm sure you'll find things you didn't know. Perhaps you'll be inspired to write down and document some of your own achievements. One thing's for certain, if it's not written down, it didn't happen, and if that's the case, no one will know if they're repeating the same lesson you just learned. I'm Ono, VK6 Fox Lima Alpha Bravo.
And for more information about this series, you can contact Ono via email to onno, that's Ono, at itmaze.com.au, or you can follow him on Twitter at VK6FLAB. Now we have ARRLDX news. We'll start this week with Greenland. Brandon, W0GPR, is active as OX/W0GPR until August 27th. Also Bo, OZ1DJJ, will be active as OX3LX from August 15th through to the 29th on various HF bands. Vietnam, Jacek, SP5APW, will be active as 3W9JK/P from Cham Island, AS162, from September 15th to 22nd, and as 3W9JK from Ho An City in the Quang Nam province from September 22 to 27. Activity will be on 20 to 6 metres using SSB. Morocco, Operators Jose, EA1ACP, Ken, EA5EL, Francisco, EA7FTR, and David, EB7DX, will be active with special call sign 5E5A on August 14th and 15th, August 19th to 21st, and August 30th through to September 3. Operations will be on CW, SSB, and FT8. China. Operators Lide, BI8CKU, and Ruli, BI8JDW, will be active as B0/BI8CKU from Lhasa, Tibet, China, until August 14. Activity will be on 40 and 20 metres using FT8. Greece. Yak, F6HMJ, will be active as SB8/F6HMJ from Eos Island, IOTA EU067, from August 27th to September 6th. Activity is on 40 to 10 metres using CW and some SSB. Curacao. Charles, NK80, will be active as PJ2/NK80 from August 27th to September 2. Activity will be holiday style, QRP, on 20, 17, 15, 12 and 10 metres. Cuba. Operators Alexi, CO2XK, Lazaro, CO2WL, Ahmed, CO2AME, and some others will be active as T42W from October 25th to 29th. Activity will include the CQ Worldwide DXSSB contest, which is October 27th and 28th, and will include some FT8 operations as well. Austral Islands. There'll be a 5-man team active on 160 through to 10 metres, except for 60 metres, between August 13th and 22nd. Call sign is TX5T. Antigua. Philippe, EA4NF, will be active as V26NF until August 19th. Activity will be on 40 to 10 metres. Kosovo. Tev, TA1HZ, is on the air as Z68HZ from August 17th to 27th. Wake Island. Randy, WW6RG, will be active on August 17th as KH9/WW6RG using SSB and running QRP. Randy will then move to the Marshall Islands to Kwajalein Atoll from August 21st to 23rd, and he'll be then using the call sign of V73/WW6RG. United Arab Emirates. Enrico, IZ0GYP, will be living in Dubai for at least a year and has been issued the call sign of A65FU. Cambodia. Kranay, F6CTW, is active as XU7AEX until August 20th. Listen for him using CW on 40, 30 and 20 metres. Qatar. Rasto, OM6AA, is active as A75GR from Doha. He has been active on 20 metres using CW. Belize. Victor, WB0TEV, is active as V31TP from August 16th to 22nd. Activity is on 80 to 10 metres. This weekend on the radio, the WAE DX contest, CW SKCC Weekend Sprintathon, the Maryland DC QSO Party, and the MMM on VHF/DU bus 144 MHz Meteor Scatter Sprint, it's a challenging one, are all on this weekend. The NAQCC CW Sprint is scheduled for August 15th, and of course the ARRL International Grid Chase continues throughout 2018. Now a bit closer to home in Wyson news. The Wyson New South Wales Annual General Meeting was held yesterday here at Amateur Radio New South Wales, Quarry Road, Dural. Hunter Region Wyson is seeking more operators for the Great North Walk Ultras, which are a series of trail races running from Taralba through to Patonga Wharf, and they're on the 8th and the 9th of September. Please contact Wyson Operations as soon as possible if you're interested and available. Later in September is the Barrentine Sarex Search and Rescue Exercise, which is from September 14th to the 16th, and that's built around the search for the missing Cessna VHMDX. The Hounslow Classic is then a running event centred around Blackheath on the 22nd and 23rd of September. The next day of Wyson induction training is going to be here at VK2WI Dural, and then next Sunday, the August 19th. Looking ahead to October, 27th to 28th is the Hawkesbury Canoe Classic and the Wyson Dash. Now these events raise funds for the Arrow Bone Marrow Transplant Foundation. And don't forget, October 14th is Volunteer Memorial Day. The WISEN website is at nsw.wisen.org.au. Facebook users will find an official WISEN New South Wales page, along with an informal national WISEN group. WISEN Northern Rivers holds a weekly now on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. local time on the Lismore repeater VK2RSC, which is on 146.8 MHz and requires a 123 Hz tone. Listen for the call sign VK2WIR. The WISEN Mid-North Coast region meets at 3:30 p.m. on the first Saturday of the month at SES HQ, Central Road, Port Macquarie. The region is also running an HF net on Thursday evening starting at 7 p.m. using the band plan's 80-metre WISEN frequency of 3.6 MHz. WISEN ACT is part of the Canberra Region Amateur Radio Club, supporting events in the ACT and Capital Country. The Acterra Brookvale Horse Endurance Ride is on September 29th and 30th. And in October, ANU Inward Bound Adventure Race is on the 5th and the 6th. Then both Fitz's Challenge and the Whitwood Carriage Driving event are on the 28th. See the WISEN events pages at crarc.ampr.org. WISEN Victoria has a net on 3.6 MHz each Wednesday evening, 8:30 p.m. local time. Coming events there include the Field Weekend at Lauriston Scout Camp in the Macedon Ranges on the 5th and 6th of October, and the Stockman's Rally, which is at Big River, on Sunday the 28th of October. For all the details, visit their website at vic.wisen.org.au. And that's thanks to Julian, VK2YJS, on behalf of the WISEN New South Wales State Management Committee.
This is a news broadcast from VK2WI. For voice contact with Amateur Radio New South Wales, telephone 02 9651 1490, which will take you to our message bank. For written contact, write to PO Box 6044, Dural Delivery Centre, New South Wales 2158, or email office@arnsw.org.au. This is VK2WI. We now continue with this evening's news.
And we move on to club news. And we start this week with news from the Central Coast Amateur Radio Club. The following executive positions were filled at the club's annual general meeting last Saturday. President is Miles, VK2ASS. Vice Presidents J, VK2FOMG. Secretary Mark, VK2CCR. Treasurer Dave, VK2DLS. Subcommittee positions were returned, and the new publicity officer is Dave, VK2KFU. We offer our congratulations to all those concerned. Please note that the Central Coast WISEN AGM has been moved till next Saturday, the 18th of August. Now, as this date coincides with the regular club lecture on that day, the arrangement for the day is as follows. Listen carefully. First is the usual sausage sizzle at noon, followed by the Central Coast WISEN training session, which is in the club rooms at 12:30 p.m. Then there'll be a short WISEN AGM starting at 1 p.m. and this will be followed by the club lecture for the day. It's a practical demonstration of test equipment by Graham, VK2GRA. Due to the Shazada Horse Enduro being held in the last week of August, the usual business meeting of the club has been postponed to the following Saturday, the 8th of September. Naturally, all are welcome, especially visitors. All meetings of the Central Coast Amateur Radio Club are held at the club rooms in Dandaloo Street, Carryong, just past the fire station, at 1 p.m. Just look for the big tower, and they're preceded by the obligatory sausage sizzle starting at noon. The club rooms are accessible by bus, with a bus stop just opposite Dandaloo Street, and that's serviced by the Route 34 bus from Gosford Railway Station every hour. The club also relays VK2WI news broadcast every Sunday morning and evening. Good evening to everyone listening on the Central Coast tonight. Callbacks are taken after the morning news only on the Somersby 6 and 2 metre repeaters, VK2RAG, which are on 53.725 and 146.725 MHz respectively. Please note, both repeaters require a subaudible tone of 91.5 Hz. There's a net held every Thursday on the 2 metre repeater, VK2RAG, on 146.725 MHz. Starts at 8 p.m. and all members are encouraged to join, especially if club news or this news broadcast is involved. The club has a Facebook page which can be found by looking for Central Coast ARC, and their Twitter account is @CCAR Club. More information about the Central Coast Amateur Radio Club can be found on the website ccarc.org.au, which will soon have various interactive features. That's a thanks to Dave. VK2KFU is the publicity officer for the Central Coast Amateur Radio Club. The Oxley Region Amateur Radio Club has their next meeting on Friday night. It's their Friday night gathering, starting at 7 p.m, Friday the 17th of August, and it's at the SES building in Port Macquarie. The club station, VK2WI, participated in this weekend's RD contest. Using the club's communications caravan, which is at the Camden Haven Airfield, just south of Port Macquarie, the station operated throughout the night in the 24-hour section on all bands, including 160 metres. Next weekend, VK2WI is operating from the club caravan at the Tacking Point Lighthouse to take part in the International Lighthouse and Lightship weekend we mentioned earlier. This year, though, the club's activity will only be on Sunday, the 19th of August. Normally the station would operate all weekend, but the Lighthouse site is not available on Saturday this year due to a wedding. Candidates for our foundation, standard and advice licences can contact the club via Post Office Box 712, Port Macquarie, New South Wales 244. Training courses and assessments for advanced, standard and foundation licences run once sufficient candidates have registered their interest. The club conducts 2 nets each week. The midweek net starts at 7:30 p.m. on Thursday nights, and the weekend net takes place from 9 a.m. on Sunday mornings. Both nets are on the VK2 RPM 2-metre repeater, which is on 146.7 MHz, and the repeater requires a 91.5 Hz subaudible tone for access. Visitors are always made most welcome at the club's monthly general meetings, which are at 2 p.m. on the first Saturday of each month, and the Friday night gatherings, which are at 7 p.m. on the third Friday of the month. The venue for all the meetings is the SES building in Port Macquarie. For more information about the club, visit the website at orarc.org. The site contains a wealth of amateur radio items in addition to club information. The July 2018 edition of the club's bi-monthly newsletter Oxtails is now available to read on the website, and past issues are there as well. And that's a thanks to Henry, VK2ZHE, for the Oxley Region Amateur Radio Club. Now heading on down south to the Illawarra Amateur Radio Society, which meets on the second Tuesday of every month except for January, and their next meeting is coming up this Tuesday, the 14th of August. General meetings start at 7:30 p.m, directly following the committee meeting at 6:30 p.m. Meetings are held in the Coniston Community Hall, which is in Bridge Street, Coniston, just a little south of Wollongong CBD. The hall is right next door to Coniston Railway Station, so access to meetings by train is really easy. Now, the next meeting is the Society's AGM. All positions are vacated and up for election. However, visitors need not be worried about being hijacked into a position, as many of the current committee and executive are happy to volunteer again, if elected, of course. Following the AGM, Rob, VK2MT, will give a presentation on HF antennas, from balanced to unbalanced, and resonant to non-resonant. Following that will be the usual rag chew and cuppa with chocky biscuits. Now, based on many past meeting nights, rag chewing does tend to continue until the hall lights are turned off, but then leads on into the car park. The Society has recently established a new DMR UHF repeater. It is located at VK2RMP Madden Plain site. It's on 438.725 MHz with a -5 MHz offset. Slot 1 is presently connected to Worldwide Talk Groups 91, and Slot 2 is connected to the Australian and New South Wales talk groups, which are 505 and 5052. All listeners in Sydney and Wollongong, of course, are invited to test out the system. Reports can be sent to the Society's Secretary, Keith, VK2KQB, and his email address is iars.keithb@gmail.com. Now, if you're interested in getting your amateur radio licence in the Illawarra or Shoalhaven region, don't forget there's a team of enthusiastic amateurs led by Ted, VK2ARA, who can assist, mentor, teach and then examine for your licence. The team runs learning programs for foundation, standard and advice licences, so get in touch with Ted via email, vk2ara@wia.org.au. And don't forget about the Saturday morning chit-chat net, which is run by Steve, VK2BGL. If you're interested in joining in, listen on either VK2RMP or VK2RUW, 2-metre repeaters, starting from 9:30 a.m, or you can call in via Echo Link using VK2BGL-R. So to conclude, all listeners are invited to attend the next meeting of the Illawarra Amateur Radio Society, 7:30 p.m, Tuesday the 14th of August, at the Coniston Community Hall in Wollongong. That's submitted by Rob, VK2MT, who's the publicity officer for the Illawarra Amateur Radio Society. And the Hunter Radio Group's next meeting is on Friday the 17th of August. Now please note that's a week later than usual due to this weekend's RD contest. The location, however, is as usual, which is the Belmore Function Room at Adamstown Bowling Club. The meeting starts at 7:30 p.m, and light meals are available from the bar before the meeting. That's thanks to Rodney, VK2CN, who's the secretary of the Hunter Radio Group. Now heading on down to City, and the Blue Mountains Amateur Radio Club has got their Winterfest coming up Sunday the 26th of August at their club rooms, 4 Moore Street, Brembrook. Doors open at 9 a.m, and entry is $5 per person. Car boot sales are available, and they're not just limited to amateur radio equipment. As members have other hobbies too, there is a diverse range of goodies available. If you would like to set up a stall, get in touch with the president at vmarc.org to organise that, and you'll get all the details. Tea, coffee and bickies will be available all day for a gold coin donation, and a sausage, sizzle and drinks will be available at reasonable prices. There'll also be a raffle which will be drawn at about 1 p.m. The BMARC club rooms are open to all on the first and third Saturdays of every month from 10 a.m. through till 2 p.m. Meetings of BMARC are on the first Friday of every month except for January, starting from 7:30 p.m. Visitors are very welcome. The club runs 2 nets each week. Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on 80 metres, 3543 kilohertz, and on the club's 2-metre repeater, which is on 147.05 megahertz. Please note the repeater requires a 123 Hz tone. The club also regularly holds foundation licence weekends. For more information on these and all club activities, you can visit their website, which is at vmarc.org. That's submitted by Daniel, VK2DC, and he's the president of VMARC. The Manly Warringah Radio Society has their lecture night coming up this Wednesday, the 15th of August. Now, this month's speaker is Ross Torrington, and his topic is Wireless Before Radio Waves. Ross owns and operates a small museum, and he'll be taking along some of his old communications treasures to illustrate and accompany his talk. Next weekend, as we mentioned, is International Lighthouse and Lightship Weekend, and the Society's club station, VK2MB, will once again activate Barrentine Lighthouse at Palm Beach in northern Sydney. Good luck and good DX to all participating stations. The Society is currently testing a new 70cm DMR repeater. It's on 438.4 MHz with a minus 5.4 MHz offset. This is a 3-month trial, during which the 70cm D-Star repeater will be offline. VK2RMB is network node 505235 with a colour code of 1, and coverage reports are welcome. Visit the club website at mwrs.org.au for more information about these and other club projects, such as the Web SDR, sponsored by Amateur Radio New South Wales, the club YouTube channel, VK2MB-TV, the club scouting program, and much more. The Manly Warringah Radio Society meets every Wednesday evening at the First Terry Hills Guides Hall, Beltana Avenue, Terry Hills. Doors open at 7:30 p.m. for an 8 p.m. start, and visitors are always welcome. If you need directions, you can call in on the club's 2-metre repeater, which is on 146.875 MHz, or visit the website at mwrs.org.au for more information. 73 Richard, VK2SKY, the MWRS Publicity Officer. The Waverley Amateur Radio Society had their annual club auction last month. While attendance was down a bit on last year, a fun day was had by all, and the auctioneer went home without a hoarse throat for once. The Society's Echolink and IRLP node on the Paddington UHF repeater have been down for a while due to the aging computer finally giving up, but a shiny new Raspberry Pi based node has been ordered and hopefully will be back on air very soon. The August monthly meeting of the club is coming up this Wednesday the 15th, starting at 7:30 p.m. At the meeting, Eric, VK2WI, will be giving a talk on using the DMR system from a user's perspective. As usual, tea, coffee and biscuits will be available. The next project day is coming up Saturday, September the 1st, commencing at around 1:30 p.m. and going through till about 4 or 5 p.m. The next check night is on Wednesday, September the 5th, starting 7:30 p.m. As usual, the Society's club room is open most Tuesdays for retirees, idle rich, or those just skipping work or uni for the day, and any others who can make it along. It's open from about 10 a.m. through to 4 p.m. Live Morse practice sessions continue on Thursday evenings, commencing at 8 p.m. on or about 21.02 MHz. And don't forget the club's weekly net on VK2RWI repeater, which is on 438.1125 MHz with a minus 5.4 MHz offset and a 91.5 Hz tone, and that's starting at 8 p.m. every Monday night. The next foundation courses and assessments being run by the Society will be over the weekend of September 15th and 16th. Details on the assessment weekend and how you can book can be found on the club website in the Education and Training section. There's full information about the club on the weekly updated website, which is at VK2BV.org. The site's now back up and running smoothly after having some technical issues before. The site includes the ability to renew membership, purchase items, or book and pay for courses or assessments online. There's also an inquiry form on the webpage, which is normally actioned within a couple of days. 73 from Eric, VK2WI. He's the Society's Broadcast Publicity Officer. The Hornsby and District Amateur Radio Club is having their next meeting, which is an informal mid-monthly meeting this Tuesday the 14th of August, and the meeting starts at 8 p.m. The meeting is at the Mount Colah Community Centre in Pierre Close, Mount Colah, on the eastern side of the Mount Colah Railway Station. Saturday the 22nd of September is the centenary of the Marconi Fisk message from the UK to Australia. Operation of Special Events Station VK100 Marconi will be on at St Andrew's Anglican Church from 11 a.m. and at the Monument from 1 p.m. For information on nets and other club activities, the club website is hadarc.org.au. The club has a group on Facebook, which can be found by searching for VK2MA, and on Twitter can be found at VK2MA. That's thanks to Julian, VK2YJS, the Hadarc Publicity Officer.
This is VK2WI nearing the end of tonight's news bulletin. The text version of this bulletin will be available from Monday on the Amateur Radio New South Wales website. Also on this site you can find details of our services, membership and general information about amateur radio. The address is www.arnsw.org.au. This is VK2WI. We now continue with this evening's news.
And we have a summary of coming events for the rest of August. Having just finished the Remembrance Day contest this weekend, the Illawarra Amateur Radio Society has their AGM on the 14th. Also on the 14th is Hadarc's mid-monthly meeting. The 15th sees the Manly Warringah Amateur Radio Society meeting and the Waverley Amateur Radio Society meeting. The Hunter Radio Group's meeting this month is on the 17th, and the 17th is also the Oxley Region Amateur Radio Club gathering. Central Coast Wyson has their AGM on the 18th. The 18th and 19th is the weekend of the International Lighthouse and Lightship Weekend. Blue Mountains ARC's Winterfest is on the 26th. The Fisher's Ghost Amateur Radio Club have their meeting on the 29th of August. For September, the St George Amateur Radio Society gathering is on the 5th. The Great North Walk Ultra, that's a Wyson event, is on the 8th and 9th of September. The Barrentine Sarex, also a Wyson event, is on the 14th through to the 16th of September. Amateur Radio New South Wales has got a foundation and assessment weekend on the 15th and 16th, as does the Waverley Amateur Radio Society. The centenary of the first direct radio message from the UK to Australia is the 22nd of September. The Canberra Region Amateur Radio Club has a foundation weekend and assessments on the 22nd and 23rd. Amateur Radio New South Wales Trash and Treasure Radio Experimenters Group meeting is on September the 30th. Looking ahead briefly to October, St George Amateur Radio Society's gathering is on the 3rd of October. Jota and Joto will be on the 20th and the 21st of October, and the Hawkesbury Canoe Classic, which is a big Wyson event, on the 27th and 28th of October. Now, submit news items for inclusion in our news bulletins. Please email them to news@arnsw.org.au by the Friday night preceding the broadcast. Audio items can also be accepted, but please email us in advance to make the arrangements. Happy to have them on. The broadcast roster next Sunday morning, the announcer will be Eric, VK2VE, and James, VK2GOH, will be engineer. Then in the evening, the announcer will be Steve, VK2FSLC, and Peter, VK2BEU, will be engineer. But that concludes our news for this evening. Your announcer has been Matthew, VK2YAP. Your engineer has been Tim, VK2ZTM. Callbacks will be taken shortly, so please call back to the relay station that provided the broadcast to you. On the Mount Bindo repeater, VK2RDX, callbacks will be taken shortly and the numbers will be relayed to us here at VK2WI. And we'll be listening for callbacks for those who took the broadcast directly from us. And the announcer's booth, I will briefly start on 20 metres, though there's not much hope with conditions as they are. Then do 80, 40, 30 and 160 metres. In engineering, Tim will take callbacks on 10 metres, VHF and UHF, and he'll advise the order in just a moment. All the best from the broadcast team here at VK2WI. Have a great week, and thanks for listening.